Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with day 19 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. And today's sketch is one picture and lots of fun inking and things of that nature. And it is brought to us by Daisie Scraps. And it's got like a little grid in the background. And it has, like I said, florals and then a title and a little banner up there in the top right corner. So, like I said, it is from Daisie Scraps. And our prompt for today from Dottie About Flair is doodling. So I'm excited about that. And here is my one picture. This is my workspace when I first started working from home with all my fabulous layout and some of the stuff from my office. And I've got this Buenos Dias stencil, and I plan on using that to create that grid look in the background. And then there's a title, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this home where family is, especially during quarantine. Even though it's not quarantine paper, it totally fits. Cozy Neutrals as a recollections paper pad. It is falling apart. I only have about 6 sheets of it left and a cut apart. And then I have this page that came from there, and all the things missing are right there on the right side, and I painted those with the paintbrush and some of my inks, many of the ones that I'm going to share in this layout, and a couple extras that I just used. One of them had a little boo-boo on my paper when I first tried to take this video and had to stop it and fix it. Luckily, it's not going to be a problem for what I need this paper for. And then I pulled out my Quarantined by Simple Stories because I am working from home because of COVID. And because the colors are not really what I've got working on, that I've been working with, I figured I would just use a few things. And here are all my inks. These first 5 are Delusions shimmer sprays from Ranger. And I will go through the names as I use them. I love these inks. They add so much shine and shimmer to a layout and whatever you're doing. Some of those florals were done that way. And then this Distress Oxide is Tim Holtz Ranger as well. And I love those. I have quite a few of them. I'm just working on it, getting them all. This is my Dottie About Flair I'm going to use. It is a grid, and I decided to use that because of my job, as well as the background is a grid. So that all works together. So my plan is to use all these goodies, and so let's see how this goes. So the first thing I do is take this messed up paper, put it in my spray box, and I hang the stencil off the side. I don't want that border. I want it to end at the top and the side, or at the bottom and the side. So the first thing that I use is my Twisted Citron, which is Distress Oxide, and I'm taping it down so it doesn't go anywhere, and it's less likely to bleed if you tape it down. I've learned these things. Stick with me, you might learn a thing or two. Not from me, but from things I learned from others. So, anyway. So, like I said, the first thing I use is the Twisted Citron. And it is like a limey green. And I take that all the way up and over. And then I pull out the Delusions Shimmer Spray Fresh Lime and spray that so it's going to give it some shine. And then I tap out the Polished Jade. And then I'm going to take my heat tool a little bit and then decide I'm going to do a stencil pull. So I get a piece of, first I'm going to set my heat tool down. I get a piece of like a light lavender purple paper out of my scrap drawer, and I lay it down just to pull extra ink out. And I could have moved it up, but I didn't want to mess it up. So you could just see it a little right there. And then I'm going to pull off the tape very carefully so that I don't mind it to bleed some, but I did want some definition in those lines. So I'm looking at it to see how it looks, and then I'm going to lay the stencil back down because I want like a big L. Like I want it to go all the way up, or most of the way up at least. So I try and lay it down to where the lines are kind of matching. They're not going to match completely because of the width of that bottom, but I'm okay with that. So I ended up spraying it the exact same way I spray the other, and then I set it aside so I could work on this part while it dries. So I trim my picture down. It is about 5.5 inches because I put it on this 6-inch scrap that I did the stencil pull. And so I trim my picture down, like I said, to about 5.5 because this paper is 6 inches. So I use my heat tool to dry it a little bit, and then I'm going to lay it down and roll my paper towels over it to make sure there's no bleeding. I don't want to bleed on the back of the picture. I don't know if that would bleed through to the picture, but I also don't want to make a big old mess and smear everything. So I just kind of tap that down, and then I mat my picture so you can see in the close-ups and in person, you can see that grid. So now I'm going to tear my my lovely work of art with the grid paper, and I tear it a little at the bottom to where it ends with the grid. So I am very pleased with that. And yes, I know you can still see that pink, and that is perfectly fine because that's going to get covered up with all the good stuff that's going on this layout. This is not a typical layout for me. I don't do a lot of florals, and I know y'all are going to call me a liar because I've done a whole lot of florals this year. See, look, covered up. But this is not my normal kind of layout, and I'm thrilled that these YouTube hops and my friend Anne-Marie from scrapbookingwithanemarie.com have definitely brought me out of my old school ways. I guess it's the best way to put it. So, you know, it's just exciting to learn new things, and I have used so many inks and stuff in the last year and a half since I found Scrapbooking the Day Away, which was the Facebook group that Anne-Marie started, and then she moved to a website. So, back to the layout. First, I take the purple, which is called Crushed Grape, and I'm going to put the purple up at the top, and I'm just going to smush it a few times. Some of it I fully smush, some of it I just kind of tap down, and I love the way this looks. This is a Delusion shimmer spray, so it does have some shine, especially on the white background. It kind of bleeds a little into that purple, or into the green up there, but I'm okay with that. And then I get the bubblegum pink and do that same thing pretty much on the bottom. And yes, this is the guilty culprit that spilled on my paper. It didn't spill, but there was like a drop of it from where I had been inking earlier with the flowers. And it must have just, like when I closed it, it must have just still been in the lid. So it didn't actually spill. It was just one little drop. But one drop of that stuff made a big difference. And then I take the blue, which is London Blue, and I tap a little on the top and a little on the bottom. I want to bring that in both sides. It's hard. It looks like it's just one color in this sketch, I think, but it's hard for me to tell from my black and white sketch. So after I get done with that, I don't even wait for it to dry. I start putting down my flowers. And what I did, see blue on my hand, what I did was I took that little paint container that came from, it's a Tim Holtz, and I put a little bit of the different colors in each of the little trays, and then just used a paintbrush and painted. If it was a Distress Oxide, I put some water in it so it would give it a little bit extra texture, or a little extra, well, it would distress it some. So, and then the shimmers, I did just put those directly on, and I love those pink ones, are so shiny. And I just love, I spread out the shiny stuff from the top and the bottom. And then I put all these cute little flowers right here that I'm putting down. There's 4 of them. I put them all at the top because they would have looked weird coming out the bottom. Because they've got like a little stem, so it's like a little tulip or something. And I actually took those and inked those with 2 different colors because I put a little shimmer spray on the tips of them. So, very exciting. So, I get all those down, and that one at the very, very top of the right corner, I did not put down. It is so weird looking because it's got like 6 different colors on it. And while it's pretty, it didn't really, I don't know, it's kind of weird looking. So, I get all that done, and I tape and glue down everything because it's on that ink. And I'm definitely wanting to use this Home Where Family Is, but I don't want to cover up those flowers I just put down. If I had put the title down first, I could have tucked the flowers under that, but I didn't. And so I decided I'm going to use the title up here in the banner that she has, and I want to mat it. So I have a strip of that same purple paper with the graph on it. And so I am going to use my tape runner and put it down on there. And I did fishtail the banner, but then I put it on the mat. And I did not fishtail the mat because that never works out right for me. It always looks weird. So I just tack that down up at the top, about an inch down from the top. And I'm loving that. It gives a little bit of something on the right side. I have a hard time with empty white space. I'm looking at it right now going, oh my gosh, look at all that white space. It's okay. I break it up a little bit with the prompt. But there is still quite a bit of white space for me. So I put these last few purple flowers up at the top. One of them I cut in half so it looks like it's completely behind there. And then the other ones I just kind of tuck around. And it does bring that blue up to the top as well because there's a little blue in that one flower. And I was trying to be creative, you all. I don't paint. I'm not the artist. That's my daughter. Scrapbooking is my one art form, and I'm really proud of it. But my daughter can draw, so can my son. Draw and paint and all sorts of good stuff. So anyway, I put my flare down here in the corner. I make sure that it is going in the same direction as the graph behind it. And so far, so good. I'm really loving the way this looks. So I'm pull out my quarantine stickers, and I only use 4 of them. So I pull this yellowy color, and it says work from home, and I tuck that there, and I don't like it. So I pull it up and put it, there's a little space at the bottom right corner of the picture that has none of that graph paint. And it's just plain purple, and I figured, well, I'm not covering anything up here, so I'm just going to stick it there. And there's really none of that yellow in the layout. There is in the picture, but I'm okay with that. And then I also add one up there by underneath the flare that says bedtime's the new vacation, and then I put that stay at home up there as well. And then I also added right next to my picture on the right, it's a globe, and I work for a Spanish immersion school, so that just kind of fits in too, but we were able to communicate with people all over the place. So I'm tapping out my finger there because I'm like, oh yeah, I got a doodle. So I get my Moonlight pen in lime green, and I doodle and do kind of like a little curly cute doodle all the way from one side of the green up and down and over to the next side and complete that square. And then I take a lavender pen and of that same, it's a Jelly Roll Moonlight, and I make little, I'll make a heart and then a flower, then a heart, then a flower all the way around. And the flowers kind of look funny. They almost look like just silly blobs, like a bad circle, until I add a blue center to the flowers. And now they look like little flowers just along. It's like a vine, almost like a floral vine. See, for somebody who doesn't ever work with florals, I just think that I'm doing pretty good. So I get that on there, and I am thrilled with the way that it turned out. And I think after that I'm done. Like, I considered doing some inking over in the white space, but I really do like it. I'm trying to keep myself from, overdoing it. I mean, all those flowers are gorgeous, and they bring attention to the picture. And I don't know if you all can tell in the picture or not, but the picture frame in the back is my brother-in-law, and I always have it on my desk because he's a big dope. And so I also have a sign that says I'm kind of a big deal that someone bought me. So I brought that home so my family would know I was also a kind of a big deal there too. Yep. So anyway, so I think that is it for this layout. I'm going to show you this sketch and then up close pictures of the finished layout. And in slow-mo again, I can't get this right. Anyway, please go down below in the description box and follow along on this hop. It has been so much fun, 19 days in, and these layouts are just so fun and unique and different. They're all from different places. A lot of them are from the people that are hopping along with us, and it's been a really great experience, and of getting to know people through their craft and learning a lot about scrapbooking. So hope you all will check them out down below and come back and see me again. I will be back for day 20 tomorrow, And I hope you get a chance to do something that you love with someone you love. Happy scrapping.